We'd also like to hear very quickly about what is going on in Africa, and in particular about plans that are going to be happening with events over the next year. The African Union has big plans for Africa to 2063, and I believe there's a big major entrepreneur conference that is going to be held for the first time in Africa coming up. Here to tell us about it, sitting right here just a second ago, is now over here is Christopher Campbell, who's the co-founder of the South Africa Business Angels Network. Chris, come and tell us what's going on in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. It's a great pleasure to be here. And in just a handful of minutes, I'm going to tell you about Africa's dreams and how you're important to their fruition. So you've got to backtrack a little bit, and to understand 2063, you have to go all the way back to 1963. So in 1963, an organization was founded that you will now know as the African Union. The African Union celebrated in 2013 its 50th anniversary. And for those leading Africa, they thought it was important to try to understand, where do we want the continent to be in 50 years' time, 2063. So that explains the rather bizarre situation of trying to understand 50 years ahead when we aren't even sure if we'll have astronauts on Mars by 2025 or 2030. I have no doubt that over the past 4 years, from then to now, there were countless meetings to consolidate views. There were meetings about meetings. There were debates ad nauseum to decide what's important for Africa. How do we consolidate our perspectives, a continent so diverse? And yet, a document has emerged that brings together the vision for Africa from 54 countries. I'm here to give you a summary of what those aspirations are, and then talk about where does early stage investing fit into that. So I quote, "We, the people of Africa and her diaspora, aspire to a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development, an integrated continent, politically united and based on the ideals of Pan-Africanism, an Africa of good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, justice and the rule of law, a peaceful and secure Africa, an Africa with a strong cultural identity, common heritage, shared values, and ethics. An Africa whose development is people-driven, relying on the potential of African people. An Africa that is strong, united, and influential global player and partner." This is very different to the Africa I know today. I come from Cape Town, South Africa, and have traveled extensively in Africa. But I see the potential. Africa's population is forecast to grow faster than anywhere else in the world over the next 50 years. A growing middle class with purchasing power, more and more shopping malls, more and more businesses developing, infrastructure that improves. This is a youthful, energetic, dynamic population where the economic growth in the world will exceed anything else, anywhere else in the world over the next 50 years. It starts to question, where is opportunity really in the world? Where is opportunity over the next 50 years? Think about it for a second. Where is the youngest population going to be in 50 years' time? Where will the highest growth be happening in the world between now and the next 50 years? It's in Africa. Are you active in Africa, is my question to you. Are you thinking about Africa? As an angel investor and entrepreneur, I'm a doer. I love this vision, but I like to see action. And if we don't have action today, we won't see this vision materialize in 2063. And one thing I know for sure is that investors and entrepreneurs provide the smart finance and the doing attitude that gets things done. To achieve these aspirations, we are going to need good angel investors. And they're by far the best avenue, bringing together knowledge, networks, and money. I'm encouraged by recent developments over the last 2 years in Africa. In 2015, the African Business Angel Network, ABAN, was launched, that signed a MOU earlier today. This has established a body that champions the cause of and bringing together quality and quantity angel investors for the future of Africa now, today. Over 500 people participated in angel investor masterclasses in 2016 across the continent. To bring that into perspective is the data that we have for 2015 is that only 120 deals were done in Africa by angels that we know of. There were more, but that's what we know of in 2015. In 2016, we have over 500 people saying, I want to be an angel investor. I'm putting up my hand to learn. Encouragingly, we went from 25 to 40 angel groups across the continent. And in a few weeks' time, over 5,000 delegates will gather for the first time in Africa for the Global Entrepreneurship Congress. Taking place in Johannesburg will be a conversation for multiple days. How do we take entrepreneurship forward in the world today? How do we springboard entrepreneurship forward? So a conversation as important as this, as big as this, that many people coming from around the world to gather in Africa is important. It's a sign. It's a sign that Africa has something to contribute to the global innovation and entrepreneurship conversation. Over the next 50 years, the average age of the population in Western countries will increase. As mentioned, it will decline. It will stay young in Africa. This is due to health tech improving in Western worlds, healthcare, and reducing birth rates. Okay. I love my grandmother very much. But innovation and entrepreneurship requires risk-taking. We need people who can take risks. And in 50 years' time, we're going to have a much bigger disparity in age than ever before. And we're going to rely on Africa to provide us with risk-taking attitude that will bring innovation to entrepreneurship in the world. So where do you fit in? Where can you fit in? As a participant of the WeBAF annual meeting, you're exposing yourself to the leading ideas shaping our time. I would challenge you to consider that the mainstream news that you see about Africa is not all that's happening in Africa. That the incubators, accelerators, VC funds, corporate ventures, stock exchanges, angel investor groups, syndicates are happening and are challenging just as much as anywhere else in the world. Come and know them, come and experience them, come and visit them, or even better yet, invest in an African startup. WeBAF is committed to empowering the economic development of the world. What a fantastic community. I invite you to be a part of making Africa 2063 a reality. Thank you.